What's up, everybody? I just wanted to make a quick video over some of the things I learned with the Pimax Super and the rendering agent for what you're going to use to get it to work. So basically, right in your device settings, when you click this here, you're going to get this here. It'll typically already be set as Pimax XR. Right now it's SteamVR because I had changed it here just to see it change. So typically when you want to play a game and you want to use like these settings in here, all these adjustments and features from Pimax, you're going to have to set that here. You can either set it per game or you can just set it for all of them. I can't launch iRacing with a launchable, so I just set it for a common setting to 90 for now, while I was doing testing on the different modes. But if you install the OpenXR toolkit and the Pimax XR runtime, you'll be able to switch to the Pimax Open XR, which then it gives you an option to now set that in here. And once you do that, if you go to here and allow use of the eye tracker and enable quad views when rendering, all you have to do is go into the eye tracking area and calibrate the eye tracking once. Once you click that, do the calibration, then these will work. And so, for example, now as my rendering is set to OpenXR, I can just go into iRacing and set it to use OpenXR. And when it launches from that icon, not from the launcher in Pimax, which would be under your My Assets, I can just launch it directly from that. It'll use the Pimax Open XR runtime and also give me use of the eye tracking in the settings of iRacing. You turn that on and then it works. You can even turn on the eye tracking colors that pop up for each eye so you can see that it's moving. That's how I actually determined that when I was using Pimax XR, it wasn't using eye tracking. So once I switched it with this, I was able to get eye tracking, and then you have a whole new set of headroom that you can unlock by adjusting the amount that's in focus and the quality of what's not in focus. So another thing too is when you're in Steam and you're launching from Steam, you want it to use Pimax XR, OpenXR runtime. Then it looks like this. So let's switch to here. It says how to set SteamVR as your OpenXR runtime. You basically go into the settings when you're in VR. It's the only time you get options for that is when you're in VR. You have this or in the menu. Go to settings and click OpenXR. And then you can see here, it says set. It's the current runtime on this one is Oculus, but yours would probably say SteamVR if it didn't set it as default elsewhere. And you want to click set SteamVR as OpenXR runtime, you would click the other one. You would be switching it to that. I don't prefer to use SteamVRs and whatnot. I use the OpenXR. This will vary depending on what you're trying to connect to, depending on if you're trying to use SteamVR or OpenXR. And then the other thing here is how to install it. You can look up, it's on Pimax. They actually give you the exact instructions on their site. But if you Google it, how to use OpenXR, they're going to show you, you get this app and you have to click through these so that it goes through the configuration and then it downloads what you need. It also explain how to set it up and how to use that. Okay. Let's close that one. And then the same thing is in here, how to install the new OpenXR runtime. This would be from them. So as you can see here in the Pimax app, if you wanted to launch games from the Pimax app, then you would make sure this is set using the rendering agent that you like. I prefer, as I said, the Pimax XR and OpenXR toolkit because you can launch games directly and you don't have to worry about support with their app because they're just using all the features here already. Another thing too to consider is inside of this one, device settings. Then what we have is, there we go. Sorry. This right here, when you're using the OpenXR and Pimax XR, you're only going to be accessing these. So these will still work on different games. You might as well. I just set it as the common setting because I'm not using the launcher for those. And now inside of these apps, the rest will take over. Um, yeah, that's pretty much it. I just wanted to give a little overview on that so everyone understood the point and differences of this and how to launch games. And if you have a game that doesn't have the support, like built in right there to launch in, or maybe it doesn't show up in your My Assets, you can just run any game from the shortcut that supports OpenXR. Uh, and a lot of games are adding that. And if a game you have doesn't support it or isn't on the latest, you can always get the latest OpenXR DLL and drop that in replace of one. I think the last game I did that was Automobilista 2. So yeah, I hope that gives a better idea of what happened and what's going on and how to make it run a little better. All right, take care, guys.